Have you ever realized that most of the time, it's your own impulse that creates your worst conflicts? Yes, it's not what others say. It's how you react. And here's a hard but liberating truth. The more you react, the more controlled you are. Now, what if I told you there's a simple, powerful, ancient way to flip that script? Stoic silence is the key. And once you learn how to use it, you'll start to master any situation. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who really needs to hear this today. Most people think silence is weakness, but the greatest leaders in history, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, proved the exact opposite. They resolved massive conflicts without raising their voices, because real power isn't in reacting. It's in mastering yourself, emotional control, mental strength, strategic intelligence. It all starts when you stop yelling and start observing. And in this video, you'll learn how to do just that, step by step. You're about to discover how silence can become your most powerful weapon. You'll learn how to stop overreacting, how to ignore negativity, how to stay calm under pressure. But this isn't shallow talk. It's a philosophy of life. It's wisdom in action. So focus, breathe deep, and let silence begin transforming you from the inside out. Sometimes the mouth speaks before the brain even wakes up, right? And the cost of that can be high. Arguments turning into grudges, words you can't take back, regrets that stick like invisible weight. Stoicism teaches us that the first form of emotional control is mastering the tongue, because it can burn down what took years to build. Seneca warned us, if you don't control your speech will control you. In this context, silence becomes a shield against impulse. Many people think staying silent is a sign of weakness. Ironically, it's the opposite. When someone provokes you and you don't react, their attempt to bring you down falls flat. It's like they're expecting fire and you show up with a bucket of water. That's emotional intelligence. That's applied life philosophy. That's mental mastery in motion. Let's be honest. How many times have you regretted saying too much? Maybe you said something in the heat of the moment that still haunts you. Silence in those moments would have been your best ally. It's like a pause button that stops the scene from turning into a disaster. That's why Stoics praise the power of the pause before responding. It changes everything. Here's a practical exercise. Next time someone provokes you, count to 5 in your head before answering. Take a deep breath, observe your thoughts and ask yourself, will this response bring me peace, or more trouble? That brief pause might save you from days, weeks, or even years of regret. That's self-control. That's how you stop overreacting. Think of that coworker who keeps poking at you, or that family member who loves to provoke just to get a rise. Silence isn't cowardice in front of them. It's mental strength. It's like Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you. Silence puts you closer to inner peace and personal growth. And this is exactly where silence begins to build something even more powerful, respect. Because the one who controls their impulse controls the room. But we'll talk more about that in the next topic, when silence stops being a shield and becomes true authority. True respect isn't earned through shouting or dominance. If you really pay attention, the most respected people in any room are those who speak less. But when they do, everyone listens. That's because they radiate self-mastery, emotional control, and a grounded presence. Stoicism calls this silent presence, a force that doesn't need volume, only awareness. It's not what you say, it's how calm you are when you say it. Seneca said that the language of the wise is brief, and when that brevity is paired with wisdom, the impact is powerful. Picture a tense meeting full of clashing voices, and one person stays silent, calmly observing. When that person speaks, the room quiets down. That posture earns respect, not the shouting of someone trying to overpower. That's ancient wisdom in action. Marcus Aurelius didn't need to raise his voice to be obeyed. His authority came from emotional balance, clear thinking, and mental strength, things the silence helped to reinforce. You can do the same. Instead of trying to prove yourself with words, demonstrate it through calm confidence. That carries far more weight than any argument. Silence becomes your signature. Want to practice this? In tense situations, take the observer role first. Notice the words people use, the tone, the pace. Only speak if it truly adds value. When you do that, you show you're in control, not of the room but of yourself. That's strength. That's when natural respect begins to grow without force. People who lose control lose credibility, but those who stay calm under pressure show they have true emotional intelligence. It's not about being cold, it's about choosing the right moment to speak. Silence, in this case, is a strategic tool. It says, I'm not reactive, I'm selective, and that selectiveness earns more respect than any loud speech. And the most interesting part? The more you embody this posture, the more you realize silence also disarms those who try to offend you. While others expect a fight, you bring presence. Not aggressive resistance, but firm stillness. And that's where the game shifts, when silence becomes your most powerful weapon. But we'll get into that in the next part. When someone tries to provoke you, what they're really waiting for is your reaction. It's like they're thinking, let's see how far I can push them. But when you respond with silence, you break the cycle. They expected fire, but you show up with still water. That's where Stoicism shines, because it teaches that real power lies in not letting yourself be shaken. As Epictetus taught, no one offends you without your internal permission. It's not easy to hear something offensive and stay quiet, but that's exactly where your mental strength is tested. Reacting is easy. Anyone can do that. The hard part is refusing to drop to the same level. And when you succeed, something powerful happens. The other person ends up talking to their own ego. Silence becomes a mirror, and the offender is forced to face their own weakness. Picture someone yelling at you in traffic, expecting you to yell back. Now imagine you calmly looking at them and just driving away. That's not weakness. It's mastery of the mind. It's like saying, I'm not your emotional puppet, and the result, their anger collapses into embarrassment. That kind of attitude is true resilience training. Want to apply this in real life? Start with small moments. Someone interrupts or criticizes you harshly. Breathe. Don't respond right away. Look them in the eyes, maybe even smile slightly, and hold your posture. Over time, you'll notice that offenders lose their grip, because without your reaction, the fuel for the fight disappears. In those moments, silence puts you on a higher ground. Not out of pride, but out of self-awareness. You realize you don't need to explain yourself, defend yourself, or retaliate. Your inner peace is too valuable to waste in useless arguments. That's what it means to ignore negativity without ignoring reality. It's practical wisdom lived in the present. And once you start seeing this working, you realize something else. Silence not only avoids conflict, it gives you time. Time to reflect, understand, and process. And that's exactly where the next hidden power of silence lies. Because when the world gets too loud, there's only one place where clarity can be found: inside your own mind. The mind is like a lake. When it's agitated, you can't see the bottom. But when it's still, everything becomes clear. That's exactly what silence does. It slows down the avalanche of thoughts, cuts through the outside noise, and reconnects you with what truly matters. In Stoicism, silence is the gateway to reflection, not just to understand the world, but to understand yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote his thoughts in silence every day. It wasn't just a habit, it was a ritual of self-awareness. This is what we now call the Stoic Journal, a simple yet powerful exercise. As he wrote, he organized his emotions, evaluated his actions, and sought to improve daily. That's what silence offers: internal space for reason to grow. Want to apply this? Start by dedicating 10 minutes a day to complete silence. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just you, your breath, and your thoughts. Use this time to reflect. How did I react today? What can I do better tomorrow? It may seem small, but this daily pause is a real act of personal development. It strengthens self-improvement. In that quiet state, you begin to see what was once blurred. Difficult decisions become clearer. Conflicts reveal different angles. You start noticing patterns that once went unseen. Silence doesn't just bring clarity, it develops your power of perception, a rare skill in noisy times. The one who masters silence masters mental time. And whoever controls their mental time makes better choices. You begin to filter what enters your mind, what deserves your attention, and what needs to be let go. That's high-level stress management. And over time, this habit shapes a stronger, clearer, and more strategic mind. And the most amazing part, this clarity not only improves your decisions, it also protects your energy. Because once you know what truly matters, you stop wasting energy on what doesn't. And that leads us to the next secret of silence. Its power to shield your mental strength and preserve your peace. Not everything deserves a response. And silence is the most elegant way of saying, "This doesn't affect me." In a world where everyone wants to have the last word, the Stoic chooses peace over exhaustion. Every word wasted in a useless argument is energy that could have been used for something meaningful. In this context, silence is a form of mental economy, a strategic choice for inner peace. You know that group chat argument that starts in the morning and is still going strong at night? Have you noticed how much it drains you? When you reply to everything, you're handing over your emotional control. But when you remain silent, you protect yourself. It's like saying, "Yuda, it's not that I have nothing to say, I just choose not to engage with what doesn't uplift me." That's self-discipline. And more than that, the more you talk, the more you expose yourself. The more you explain, the more you drain yourself. Silence protects your integrity. It acts as a filter that prevents you from jumping into pointless battles. That's not weakness, it's emotional maturity. The same kind Marcus Aurelius used to govern empires without falling into the ego traps of words. Here's a simple practice. When something irritates you, write down what you want to say, but don't say it. Leave it for an hour, then reread it. If it still makes sense, maybe it's worth it. If it sounds silly, you'll realize how much energy you saved. This kind of exercise strengthens your emotional control, your ability to reflect before reacting. That's true resilience training. Silence also drives away people who feed off drama. When you don't fuel gossip, conflict, or victimhood, those people naturally drift away. And what remains? A lighter, purer atmosphere, one that supports your evolution. That's how you ignore negativity without needing to fight it. You simply don't give it a stage, and that's enough. And with that preserved energy, you know what happens? You begin to observe more. You notice things others miss in all the noise. And in that silent observation, a new kind of presence is born. A presence that doesn't need words to be felt. A presence we'll explore in the next point. There's an invisible power in someone who knows how to stay silent. A kind of magnetic field that draws respect without needing to ask for it. Stoicism teaches that presence isn't noise, it's perception. The more you observe, the more you understand. And the more you understand, the more you stand out. A quiet mind sees what a loud one cannot. And that creates natural influence without effort. You know when someone enters a room and everyone just senses it? They barely speak, but their presence demands attention. That's not a gift, it's practice. It's mental discipline, emotional control. It's the strength of someone who has trained silence as a strategy. And the good news? You can develop this too. Start by being more selective with your words. Speak only when it truly matters. Seneca said, "Nothing strengthens more than the one who remains silent in the storm." And this isn't about hiding, it's about focusing. When you don't waste words, your energy builds. When you speak with intention, every sentence becomes a precise arrow. That kind of communication creates a presence no one can ignore. You don't have to convince, just be. Want a practical exercise? In meetings, conversations, even family lunches, practice being the observer. Watch gestures, expressions, the silence between sentences. Get comfortable with simply listening. Over time, you'll notice people start looking at you more, waiting for your opinion, valuing what you choose to say. That's subtle influence, but it's powerful. On top of that, silence expands your awareness. You begin to notice subtle lies, hidden intentions, unspoken feelings. It helps you make smarter decisions, avoid emotional traps, and speak with wisdom. That's real emotional intelligence. It's the art of staying calm under pressure while others are drowning in noise. And as your presence grows, something deeper begins to take shape. You align with something greater, a force that doesn't need explanation, only to be felt. And when that force is guided by purpose, it becomes a living philosophy, a lifestyle that unites reason and soul. But to understand that, we need to talk about wisdom, the real kind, the kind that is born in silence. The great masters of Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, didn't need to shout their ideas. They lived so consciously, so consistently, that their silence became a lesson in itself. And that's not a metaphor. Silence is one of the purest forms of self-discipline. It reveals that you're not reacting to the world. You're acting from a place of deep inner alignment. In practice, this means speaking less and thinking more. Before acting, the Stoic reflects. Before judging, he observes. That silent pause between stimulus and response is where mental mastery is born. That's where discernment lives. Silence creates the space where impulses fade and reason takes the lead. And it's that reason that drives true self-improvement. Want to align yourself with this wisdom? Start today by setting aside quiet moments during your day. Even 10 minutes in the morning to just breathe and think clearly. Don't wait for Stoic wisdom to come only from books. It must be lived. Live with full awareness. And silence is the fertile ground where that awareness grows. Many confuse silence with passivity, but the Stoic doesn't stay quiet out of fear. He stays quiet out of strength. He knows reacting is easy, but responding with wisdom is an art. And that art requires internal silence, that sacred space where emotions settle and truth can finally be heard. Not others' truth, your own, the one that lives in your clarity. When you practice intentional silence, you start living by purpose. You stop letting impulses and pressure from others guide your behavior. Your mind becomes a temple, and the noise of the world no longer rules you. At that point, silence is no longer the absence of speech. It's the presence of soul. And that presence transforms your whole life. And before you know it, silence starts speaking for you. It speaks of your strength, your calm, your life philosophy. In that moment, you're not just quiet. You're aligned, in harmony with ancient wisdom, with deep perception, with inner peace. But hang on, this journey doesn't end here, because what truly matters now is knowing where to begin. Now tell me, how many situations could you have avoided if you had chosen silence over an emotional outburst? How many arguments, regrets, and wasted energies could have been spared if you had mastered the art of simply not reacting? The truth is, Stoicism doesn't aim to make you cold, it's here to make you wise, to help you choose the right moment to act, and more importantly, the right time to protect your peace. That's emotional intelligence, that's true freedom. So here's the question, are you going to keep letting your reactions control your life? Or will you finally start training your self-control today? Will you keep wasting your mental energy on people who don't deserve it? Or will you invest in your personal growth and inner strength? The choice is yours, but remember, every major transformation begins in silence, and that's where the real giants are born. If this video spoke to you in any way, leave a comment below. What part hit you the hardest? I read every message. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because here, you'll keep learning how to apply Stoic wisdom in real life, every single day. And if this helped you, share it with someone who needs to take back control of their mind. The revolution starts within, and it starts now.